challenges. Despite Nigeria's abundant natural resources, many of its people suffer from hunger and poverty. Our guests then for today's discussion. From Washington, D.C., we're joined by Aisha Yusuf, founder of Citizens Hub, a Nigerian organization focusing on increasing women and youth participation in politics. Let's start with you, Vigwe. 25 million votes were cast in an election of 220 million people, according to the Financial Times. A voter turnout of 27%, meaning that two-thirds of the 87 million people who registered to vote failed to do so. Would you agree that something doesn't smell right here? Was Bola Tinubu fairly elected? Is he Nigeria's legitimate president?
Well, the outcome of the election, it's not a reflection of the way the people voted. And that's the thing that's in contention right now. You did mention about the register, the party register, and the percentage of people that came out. And that's to say there's a need to actually look at that register and be sure that the people who are claimed to be registered, they're actually human beings who are registered and not just fictitious numbers. Beyond that also is to say that the election wasn't conducted the way it ought to have been conducted. INEC didn't follow its process. There were a lot of rigging, there was violence, and we must go away from the fact where we accept people rigging their way into power, because that's also a political coup. And if the world is not ready to accept a military coup, then it should not in any way accept a political coup. Situation where we have where all manners of rigging is done and then someone is declared and people are told to go to court. That has to stop. And for a lot of Nigerians, and myself included, and Nigeria yet does not have a president. We are waiting for justice to be done. We are waiting to see, you know, the person that the people gave their mandate to be the one that is declared, not what we have seen so far.
Hamza, we can't really speculate upon what the courts will decide. This question, I think, is designed more to get to the legitimacy of Nigeria's judiciary here. Tinubu's already been sworn in. What happens if the courts do decide the election has to be rerun, or will they opt for acknowledging irregularities while allowing the result to stand? Is it possible that the result did, in fact, reflect the will of the people? How independent is Nigeria's judiciary?
So for me to come in, first of all, just to briefly talk about a particular case that was mentioned a little bit earlier, the decision that was made by the Supreme Court on the double nomination of Senator Shettima, is to say that the court has ruled that the party that came in didn't have the local standing to do that. It's not so. The thing is still on trial. In terms of whether, for me, one of the things I think we must be consistent about is to understand that justice. Without justice, we can't have development, and we cannot keep pushing things away and just throwing things, sweeping things under the bed and all of that. We can't just move on to say that the president has been sworn in and all of that. I personally, I don't recognize that a president has been sworn in Nigeria. Not my President Buhari, not my President Tinubu, and definitely we need to get to a place where we are not giving people enabling environment to use everything to rig themselves into power and then legitimize themselves because they go on. This acceptance has been what has kept Nigerians down, and we must ensure that, first of all, let's work on getting that justice. First, he didn't get the highest number of legal votes, and that's in contention. And if we keep moving on, we continue to create enabling environments for people to do heinous things for them to get into power. We must consider political coup in the same way that we consider military coup.
Aisha, Tinubu said, our mission is to improve our ways of life in a manner that nurtures our humanity, encourages compassion towards one another, and duly rewards our collective efforts. Hope is back for Nigeria, he said. What about the nation's youth, though, who almost certainly didn't vote for a 71-year-old to be their president? They feel alienated by the country's political system. Do they have hope?
So I think the first thing that we need to address is this issue of stability, that constantly there's a desperation to be able to get stability over justice, over the justice of people's mandate. And that has led us to being one of the most unstabilized countries in West Africa. A lot of atrocities have been going on, a lot of killings and maiming, like had been mentioned by the previous speakers. And so we must come to a place where we are confronting the issues as they are. We We all live in Nigeria. I live in Nigeria. Every of my investment is in Nigeria. My family is there. I'm here temporarily or something. I'm going to be back in Nigeria very soon. But the issue where we want to sweep away this and just continue has gotten us where we are. And like you rightly mentioned, this is someone who was not voted for by the majority of the people. And there was a sabotage that happened in terms of inflicting yourself as to be duly elected and people being dared to go to the judiciary. So this is the angst, this is the anger. The young people that have no confidence in the country, that have been killed repeatedly, that have been denied enabling environment for them to grow, decided to do what was legal, to work within the ambit of the law and go to the polls and, vote for someone they wanted. And that process needed to be allowed to happen fully and in a free, fair and credible manner. And whatever the result it throws up, then so be it. But a situation where you're saying direct rigging, crude rigging, killing, maiming, changing of results, and someone being declared, there is no way you're telling people to move on and have confidence in such a system. And there's no way. There needs to be the acceptance of the people. So let's not be too in a hurry to crave for this stability that we've been craving all this while, that has thrown our country into chaos. The system, when like someone said, if somebody wants to be called excellency, you must ensure that the process that brings you into office must be excellent, must be free, fair and credible, and must be seen to be free, fair and credible. And that's where we are. And for me personally, I'm not moving away from there. I've stayed too much on focusing on stability against people's justice, and it hasn't gotten us anywhere. It has gotten us to a worse place. As far as I'm concerned, Aisha Yusuf, I do not recognize the person of Mr. Bola Ahmed Tinubu as the president of Nigeria. He's not my president, not my president Tinubu. That's what he remains. Thank you.
As always, thank you for watching.